Here's the deal. This is about bit rot. If you don't know what bit rot is, basically if you have data sitting in place on a hard drive or a CD, any storage medium, bit rot is where the data sitting in place on the storage medium rots. A bit flips, for example. Now, I have, in front of me, I'm doing a backup of my master server that I do all my 4K video editing on, and it's an aged file system, many years old at this point. It's been RAID reshaped, it's crashed several times. Plenty of opportunities for stupid BS random data corruption, even just from Linux kernel bugs, okay? Now, let me tell you, I have rsync running right now, and I'm using the C option, which does checksums. It checks to make sure that the files actually add up to the same, like, CRC or whatever. And I'm running it across my data, my personal data, spanning at least 25 years or more of my life. And here's the thing, okay? I advocate for using RAID-5 and XFS, not ZFS, not ButterFS, not any of these complicated file systems that have all this modern crap and so on. And always, the retort, always, is, oh, but what about data integrity? Oh, what about this, that, and the other? You know, you might, what about bit rot? Okay? I've got drives I've had for years, backups that have been sitting on those drives for years, data that's been sitting in place on my RAID array for years, okay? And here's the final verdict. I have 4 files that were not matching between the backup and the RAID array. But that might sound like a good case for bit rot, but we have literally over 1 million files. We have 2 files that were created between when I ran the latest backup, which doesn't do the checksum thing, between the latest backup and this checksum check. So those files didn't exist yet, which is why they came up. It's not that they were bad, it's that they didn't exist. The other 2 files, one of them was a Excel spreadsheet. The problem with it is somehow it had the exact same modification time, but I had changed something in the Excel spreadsheet, just like one blank. And somehow, maybe I goofed with stat or something at one point. But the mod time was the same, the file name was the same, so the changes didn't get copied over. That could have been just as simple as me copying the file date using stat and nothing more. So that I handled manually, but and it could have been a data loss scenario, but it would have been because I did something stupid with file management, not because of bit rot. That leaves the last file, a WAV file that I didn't use in a set of WAV files for a movie that I edited for someone else. There was a difference. I took it into Adobe Audition and did an invert paste to find the difference. The difference showed up. I went to it, I could not hear a difference. So I took it to Linux CMP. The CMP command with the L option, and it said 1 byte was different in this, like 6 megabyte WAV file. 1 byte was different. And in fact, when I went to look, the octal code for the bytes that were different showed 1 bit that was different. Not a byte, but it was a single bit flip that was not, somehow, was not caught by anything. And I didn't know if the bit flip was on the RAID array or the external backup array. And the backup is an array, by the way. It's a 3-drive RAID 0 of massive hard drives to back up like a, 10 hard drive RAID array of smaller drives that are faster when you put them all together. So both of them are RAID arrays. One's a 0, one's a 5. The 5 has been scrubbed, so, internally it has been corrected. But the point is, there was a single bit flip in a file that didn't matter much to me, And when I played it back, I couldn't hear a difference because it turns out that bit flip doesn't actually change the audio enough in that one sample out of 48,000 a second or whatever to make the sound any different. Now, that bit flip could have happened in something important, but here's the thing that I think you need to take away from this. We have an array with, how much does that have? In binary, not decimal, we have a 58.2 terabyte array, okay? Of which a large portion of it is my stuff. I don't know exactly how much, but minimum 20 or 25 terabytes minimum. My stuff. Just my projects for clients, my personal stuff, you know, documents from 25 years ago, backups upon backups of text messages, the works, right? Everything I've ever done. 25 terabytes. And then 3 external hard drives in a RAID 0 to back it all up. And through all of that, and like over 1 million files, over 20 terabytes, over 1 million files on 2 separate RAID arrays. So far, all I've found is a single bit flip. And this is a RAID array that's been around for years. I did that project like 4 years ago. So when they tell you that drives are so big that bit flips are basically guaranteed and you have to use ZFS, you can tell them to shove it up their ZFS. Okay? Because, excuse me, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I've got like 90 terabytes of storage here that over the course of, 4 or 5 years has experienced one single bit flip. One bit flip out of like, what is it, like 8, I don't know. You get the idea. Maybe I'm losing the math because honestly I'm tired. I'm getting a little bit sick again. I got some light bronchitis coming back. But hey, you know what? The bottom line is the whole bit rot narrative is bull. It's been bull. It's always been bull. Now, that is not to say, and this is how you know if the people in the comments didn't watch the whole video. That is not to say that bit rot isn't a problem. That is not to say that controllers don't go faulty, that RAM doesn't go cuckoo. It's not to say that stuff doesn't happen. Dirty lens. Wow, what happened there? The point is that the stuff didn't happen to me. I know, nice sample size of 1, bro. But the bottom line is, if it didn't happen to me, and all these people run around saying it's statistically guaranteed to happen on like every single drive, they're lying. That, or I somehow have miraculously, like getting bitten by 2 sharks while hit by 3 lightning bolts level, miraculously beaten basic fundamental probability and statistics. Yeah, makes perfect sense, right? Or a bit flip is a crap happens, and you shouldn't really worry about it in most normal mainstream stuff, as long as you're making sure your hardware is in good working order. And that's the takeaway. So shove the ZFS up your ZFS, and use XFS and RAID-5 if you want to. Use RAID-6 if you hate your processor. Use RAID-10 if you don't actually need all that storage. And have fun. Do what suits your situation, but don't let fanboys push you in the direction of something that may be unnecessary and probably won't benefit you in the least. Certainly wouldn't have benefited me. Oh, wait, no, that's right. One audio sample would have been completely the same to my ears, but mathematically wouldn't have flipped. Oh, wow. Yeah, bit rot. Ha! Ha! Ha!